Welcome to The Real Factor. I'm Ed.
And I'm Thor.
And we are here to talk about movies that we loved in our youth and adulthood, and we'd love to talk about it.
And we're going to continue the Christmas season right now with 1992's Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, which features...
Donald Trump.
Well, yeah, there's Donald Trump's in there, yes. But, I mean, it's the entire cast from Home Alone 1.
Yeah.
I mean...
We brought everybody. We brought
everybody back. Which
Except the old man. But we made that and turned that to an old woman.
That is true, yes. Yeah, you have to have that. But this one, I think Home Alone 1 and 2 are probably my absolute favorite Christmas movies. And I know that Home Alone 2 is just a rehash of Home Alone.
It is the exact same thing.
But it works.
It does. And that's you're absolutely right. It is a formula that worked. And the reason it works, and I know I'm jumping ahead, is because it still has that heart in it. You know, and because if you don't care about these characters, you're not going to care about this movie. And, you know, you get the feels at the end. You know.
I would have loved to see it, and I know John Candy only made an appearance in the first one. You know, he worked for, we talked about this last year, but, you know, he worked for a day just to help out John Hughes.
Yeah.
I would have loved somehow if there was a tie-in or he helped out, like when Kevin, and I'm jumping way ahead, but when Kevin went to New York and like maybe there was even just a poster that says, you know, Gus Polinski, Polka King, you know, for one night only, and just, you know, somehow there's a poster, something. I think that would have been just tremendous.
Yeah.
But, you know, you think about this movie, how it starts, and, you know, Buzz caused the problem at the talent show, or no, the
musical Christmas show,
yeah, and so, but Kevin got in trouble for it.
Yeah,
but
and this is the other thing, and
they had to get two Kevins from Catherine O'Hara,
right?
Kevin.
And nowadays it'd be Kevin Hart jumping up. It's like,
please no remakes of this.
The one thing that bothers me with the Christmas show, and it's not Buzz. It's the audience. Why are they laughing at this kid?
Oh, I know. It's
just horrible.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and they're all laughing, and the mom's horrified that this is going on, but the whole audience is laughing. I mean, anybody that would be seeing that, I mean, I would bunch up and beat some people if they're laughing at my kid like that.
I mean, how many times have we been, or even you, listening, you know, to a Christmas program, and they have the little kids up there, and they forget the words, or they mess up, or they, you know, if there's multiple singing at the same time, they're obviously off key, but, you know, one singing one thing while another, and you may snicker to yourself, like, oh, you know, whatever, but you don't laugh out loud and embarrass the child.
Oh, I know. So, I mean, I was like, good for you,
really
Kevin.
Shouldn't even do that to an
Destroy
adult.
this place down because they're all laughing at you.
See, what would have been a good mashup, just talking about that, is have Carrie, the movie Carrie. He can start the fire.
Right. All of a sudden,
all the doors locked. Boom.
Pig's blood just drops from the ceiling on everybody. Sacrificial lambs.
But you think about how, you wonder, how could he have been left or have the separation the second time? Because obviously they knew what happened the first time, and he was in the front of the van. He's like, yeah, you're not leaving me this time. It's not happening. But, as we say, it couldn't happen today with the technology, with going through airports where you have to be there 2 hours early or whatever.
Yeah.
At the boarding gate, or whatever it's called. But you know, you would see that your child is not there, and what parent wouldn't sit there and count their kids as they're getting on the plane?
Yeah. Oh, I know.
You know, oh man, we'll get them all. We'll get them all. And it's
especially if it just happened the year before.
Yeah.
You'd be like, all right, where is Kevin?
Yeah, definitely. Let's make sure he gets on the plane first.
I mean, and I know that. So we were talking about in our last podcast with the Santa Claus about that being the worst mother, and I do say that, you know.
Now don't you blaspheme. Don't say anything bad about Catherine O'Hara.
No, I'm saying that people give her, you know, grief for being the worst mother for that, but I'm like, she's one of the best mothers because she has gone through hell and back to try to get back to her son.
Oh yeah.
So that's for you, Catherine. Or whatever your name is. I forgot already what your name was in the movie.
Are you serious?
I did, yeah.
I'm not even going to tell you.
Then don't.
No. Nope.
Just be that way.
But, they bring back all the characters. Uncle Frank, I mean, he's singing in the shower, which is absolutely horrendous. Oh, you're cooking, Frank.
Well, and just the fact that he leaves the door open.
He wanted some of the steam to get out.
Turn the fan on. Just turn the fan on.
But, Kevin's got that little recorder thing.
Heat down.
And he records everything, which is great. But,
But, they were trying to get that mass marketed as a...
Of course.
As a big Christmas present for everybody that year. And
that did not happen.
No, I don't think it worked out very well.
It's always the toys that they don't plan on being the hot ticket items.
Right.
That become the hot ticket items that everybody wants. But when you try to force it, like Turbo Man or something. But, we're from the 80s growing up. Cabbage Patch Dolls and this and that. And then you get into the 90s with the Tickle Me Elmo and the Furbies.
Yeah, and then whatever that hamster thing was that went that you couldn't find anywhere from my dog.
I don't know, but
we digress.
But you would think because of the technology at the time with the cassettes, which I know CDs were becoming a big thing, but they still had the cassettes, that you figured it might become a product that all the kids wanted.
Yeah,
but it didn't work. Maybe if they would have slapped a Star Wars sticker on there or something.
As used by Kevin McAllister in Home Alone 2.
Exactly.
So so he got his ammunition for later on with his Uncle Frank's voice that we get to use later.
And it's what I said about John Candy. I still stick with that. But you have Tim Curry in here,
right?
Which is just sheer perfection. Of course, he just makes any movie better.
Yeah. Which is where all the young kids know Tim Curry from.
Yeah. We won't go into where we know Tim Curry from.
Clue, right?
Yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with Clue. So, but he finds himself there, and of course the next characters you see once he gets to New York is the two burglars, Marv and Harry.
Yeah. And
they escape from prison, and I do love when you first see them, and he's like, "Hey, Marv, you smell that?" Yes. Yeah, it smells like fish. No, it's freedom. No, it's fish.
Yeah.
It's like these guys are such best friends that when they get caught in the first one and go to prison, they still hang out together. And it is probably Marv's fault for that they get caught.
Yeah, because that was what, the water bandits?
The wet bandits.
Wet bandits, yeah.
And now they're the sticky bandits.
Sticky bandits. Yeah.
Which I'm sorry, I know it was cheesy, it's for the movie, but who's not going to notice their hat being ripped off or their scarf or...
Right.
Okay, yeah, getting the change out of the Salvation Army pot.
In a city of 1 million people plus, you just passing by, you don't know.
You don't know.
Where'd my hat go? The wind blew it. Anyways.
Yeah, but...
it's... it's good to have them back. You instantly kind of get their rapport, and in this city of 1 million people, that they find this one little kid.
Well, and since it's a sequel, all these characters, because they're the same characters, they've been established. You know their background. You know what they want to do. Even though I said Marv is probably the one that gets them caught, Harry can't stop. He's got to get Kevin. Marv's the bumbling idiot.
Yeah.
And Harry's the one that's determined we're going to get this kid, But I love it. And they always set it up where they give us the forewarning of what time they're going to show up.
Right.
Well, they're going to rob the toy store. We'll come back about, midnight.
Yeah.
But they actually stayed in the toy store.
Yeah. I know.
In the little doll houses. Which who doesn't sweep their store to make sure there isn't a little child running around?
Nobody does. I mean, that's why all the kids get stuck in the museums.
Where the dinosaurs come to life.
Right, exactly.
Around 9 o'clock. Okay.
Right. So yeah, there's really maybe 3 different stories kind of going on in this movie. You've got the Marv and Harry story. You've got basically the old lady story, which has kind of replaced the old man from the, like I said, for the first movie,
right?
That he's afraid of, and then becomes friends.
Yep.
And then you've got basically the family story who's stuck in the rain at the beach, or
down in Miami.
Yeah.
They were trying to recreate their honeymoon, I guess, because that's where they went, or that was Frank. That's where he was at his honeymoon. One of them had their honeymoon there. We should know this since we're doing the podcast, but that's how it goes. But yeah, there's multiple stories, and again, like we said at the beginning, it's the exact same script.
Yeah.
But they just changed the city. They changed, like you said, the old lady for the old man,
right,
or vice versa, whatever. But it works.
You even have
angels
with filthier souls.
Oh, I see. There's a tie back to like everything in the first movie except for John Candy. I will not stop. Sorry, but this one was written by John Hughes. It was directed by Chris Columbus, just like the first one was.
Yeah.
And we are huge John Hughes fans.
Say that real fast. Huge Hughes.
Yeah, Hughes fan. Huge. I don't know. Why would you do that to me? On the real factor.
Yeah. So all right. So let's get into kind of the meat and potatoes of what I think is the crux of the story of how Kevin turns from the first movie into just a prankster into a diabolical killer in this one, because all the stuff he does to these people, he's probably murdered them like 10 times over. I mean, he's throwing bricks off of a building and hitting them in the head. He's, they're being doused with.
Think about his accuracy for throwing those bricks. That's pretty good.
I mean, sign him up for the Mets,
I don't know. Of course, they had to pursue him because he had the camera. Which, okay, throw down your camera. It was a Polaroid, so you throw the camera down, you still have the picture. It's like, whatever. But he's throwing those bricks, and of course.
And have you ever seen how a Polaroid looks at long distance?
Yeah, really. They wouldn't know.
And it'd been like two little ants on the floor.
Yeah. But yeah, throwing the bricks. Now, why would anybody soak a rope in kerosene? I love that quote.
Well, and talk about that. They
dropping the 100-pound sack. Oh.
That will electrocute Marv, which to me is still one of the. I don't know. It's so silly, but I just laugh every time the way he's holding on to that thing. He's electrocuted, and his hair starts to grow, and then he turns into the skeleton. And it goes back to him. It's just something about that. I think
you love, and I guess it works in movies when I don't like when they turn to skeletons, because I'm like, really, you're not going to turn to a skeleton, just like they did in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah. Oh, I think that was hilarious.
And where they're in the car and they turn into skeletons. But see, that's what I'm saying. You like it. I'm like, really? I mean, the hair growing out, everything going crazy.
They did it for me, not for you. But I mean, these things would kill anybody. Well, hell, in the first movie, it would have killed anybody.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, they douse them in like paint primer.
Oh yeah.
And then they set off all at the end of it all the fireworks right next to them.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about when, and I know it's just a movie, but what did they put on Marv? I know they didn't probably put, real paint, or it might have been like cosmetic paint or something.
Yeah.
But all that stuff on his face and in his eyes and probably in his mouth, and it's like, that's disgusting.
Hey,
I guess that's why I'm not an actor.
You got a paycheck for that.
Yeah. And as we talked about in the first one, he almost didn't take the role.
Yeah, I know.
And that just, what a shock.
What he's known as.
Which, do you wonder, is that a bad thing? It's like, okay, like Joe Pesci, who played Harry, he's known for so many movies.
Darker
movies. Which he should have never been in Lethal Weapon, was Leo Getz. But anyway, that's a whole nother story.
And another podcast. Go see it.
Yes. But, yeah. I was about to go on that tangent. But they learned from the first movie. Instead of just grabbing the door handle, he wants to test it, and he's looking for the tricks. Oh, remember the paint cans? All right, there's one. Oh, got me right in the mouth. Oh, my schnoz. There's two. All right, let's go. But then the comedy that happens, so they get hit with the big, I don't know what that was, big piece of pipe. And he goes, that's three. And then the thing clambers down the stairs, and
Well, they all fall into the thing, and then it rolls down, and yeah, where it falls on them into the thing. But then, of course, that thing's got to be pretty heavy.
Yeah, it looked like it was cast iron pipe.
Yeah, and Kevin just lifted above his head. He just throws it on down. Like styrofoam.
And you figure, why wouldn't Kevin just, I don't know, go to the cops? He gets lost in New York. I mean, I know we're backtracking now, but why wouldn't you just go straight to the authorities and be like, look, I got on the wrong plane. I was supposed to go to Miami.
My only thing I think with that, and I understand that point, is just unless he just thought that he was going to get into more trouble by letting people know, but then I'm like, now you're running up the credit card bills at the Trump Tower, and
you spent $900.
Right.
Which, if you looked at that receipt, like 200 and something of that was like tips and gratuity or something.
Yeah.
And then they still wanted more money. Rob Schneider, as the bellhop, wanted more money when he gave him chewing gum.
I still have a little bit left of this tip.
Yeah, I think Rob Schneider did a good job with the role that he had for that.
I agree, because Rob Schneider has been known to overdo,
just a little bit,
his roles, and
well, this was probably been one of his first movie roles.
Yeah,
for that. So then he
got a name for himself, and then he thought he had to overact on everything.
Yeah, see, like Adam Sandler overacted at first and then calmed it down.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, Adam Sandler's not in this movie, but that's okay. So one question I had, that we're talking about the homeless lady, that he forms that
Brenda Fricker, who's playing.
Excuse me, watch your mouth. No. So as he forms that bond with, how did she get into the Opera House? How did she get into? Was that Carnegie Hall?
I don't know.
But she gets up and there has to be some secret entrance that she knows about that's unlocked. And then how does she get to the attic to go up there? I don't. I know it's for the movie and we're picking it apart, but it's like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
the whole movie makes sense except for that one part. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It just. Yeah. I knew you got me a loss of words.
Yes, a loss of words. I finally did it. But do you have a favorite scene?
I honestly, it's what I like is kind of when he first gets there, and it's the music and the montage. I mean, I'm all for a montage.
I know.
But it's all. But
Ghostbusters. I love the montage.
Right.
Okay.
And it's still the. I mean, don't get me wrong. All of the hijinks. I know. It's just say it. All the hijinks and stuff at the house. That's all fun, and I could pick favorite scenes of that. But when you get down to it, it's really the point where they're at whatever the ice skating rink is in front of and at the end of it, and it is always the feels of the mom seeing Kevin, and he's turning around, and it's like a Christmas miracle, and they embrace, and I don't know. Those are just kind of Now, honestly though, if I was that mom and I saw him, I wouldn't be standing at the other side going, Kevin, you running your ass over there and going, get over here right now! Well, I'll beat you into tomorrow. I'm gonna beat you into Home Alone 3 is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, really. See, Home Alone 3 for them. I know there was a Home Alone 3, and it's a whole different cast, completely different cast and bad guys, averaged everything. I was thinking about this. They could have moved this whole scenario onto like a cruise ship or something. Could you imagine?
Home Alone 3, Lost at Sea.
See, there you go. Perfect. Write it up.
And then we're going to just Die Hard on a boat, Die Hard on a train, Die Hard, it'd be like a Home Alone on something. There you go.
I love it. In space.
Right.
Versus vampires.
We'll team up Jason X with Kevin McAllister and see who wins.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, their favorite scene is, for this one and Home Alone 1, I'll just say Home Alone 1, is all the antics, how he basically destroys the place to to catch the bad guys or to make their life miserable. But unfortunately, or fortunately for him, in Home Alone, he had to put the house back together before his mom got there.
In like a couple hours.
Yeah, in a couple hours. And
put up all the Christmas decorations.
Yeah. And then the second one, he didn't have to do that because that place was a nightmare to begin with.
Yeah.
I mean, those were shoddy. You walk in the front door, he moved the boards, but there was like
a hole.
2 2x12s or something as a walkboard.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me?
I don't even think that's safe construction standards.
But with your montage, yeah, it's good. It shows a lot of different parts about the city. It shows the Twin Towers, which, he was up on top of that. And just shows so many. He took a Polaroid camera of, I guess, the helicopter taking pictures of them.
Right.
I was like, okay. But he never went on the subway, did he? I don't remember that.
No.
Okay.
Because that would
I should know that immediately.
That would
I've
be
seen
the
this
unsafe place of all the places that he went to.
Well, yeah, he went to some of the shady parts of town too.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite part would be all the antics in the house. I'll go along with the majority of people in America or around the world because they just get the absolute tar beat out of them.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, like we said, those things would kill you. I mean, 100.
Even the pigeons at the end of them that are gnawing at them, eating the birdseed.
And I even thought about the birds. I'm like, how horrible is that? They've got all that paint thinner on them, and all that lacquer and everything else, and the bird seeds on it, but they're eating that.
Yeah.
Which is now soaked in the paint thinner.
Poor birds.
I wish that Catherine O'Hara could have been in the movie more. I know she had a major role in it, but just for small parts. Her dedication to to Kevin, her son, and I wish the dad would have done more. He's like,
dad is not done.
All right.
John Hurd never had much of a role in either one of them.
No.
He was just like the genial, nice dad kind of role.
And I get it. They have all the other kids, and so I guess he'd be like, all right, you do. But it wasn't like, okay, one of us needs to stay with all of our, all the other children, and one of us needs to go to back home, or in this time to New York. But it was more like, we'll just catch the next plane, or we'll do that.
Yeah. I will mention that the one aspect of her role that is a little bit different from the first one, because in the first one, she's traveling the whole time.
Right.
And then gets there right at Christmas morning before everybody else shows up. But in this one, she actually gets there to New York within like the middle of the movie, and is really just kind of keeps missing him wherever he is, and so that's
a huge city.
Yeah.
And then she
goes
goes
scarves and hats.
Yeah, and then she goes to the cop, and the cop's like, "Yeah, let us do our job." And I loved her response. She's like, "What if it was your child?" Yeah, I'd probably do what you're doing. All right then.
Yeah. So get off your butt and do something about it.
Help me about it. But, and that's not a knock on cops or that cop or anything like that. But anyway, I mean, they do have a process. They do it, unfortunately, for a living, Yeah. And you do. But as a parent, no, I wouldn't stop. But anyway, I think I've said everything I need to say about it.
All right. So what would be your real grade for Home Alone 2, Lost in New York?
Oh, I give it a 5. I mean, we're doing it from, I guess, 0 to 5. 5 being the best.
Yep.
I give it a 5 because even though it's a rehash of the first one, it works.
Yeah.
And I've already watched it a couple times this year. I'm going to watch it a couple times more before Christmas. I mean, it's just a perennial thing that we just love to sit and watch.
Yeah. I'm going to give it 4 reels. The Home Alone one is still going to be a little bit better, for me. But yeah, no, I mean, it's still an easy watch, enjoyable. I mean, there's nothing, like you said, you can nitpick it, but it's still just good fun comedy. So
you can get lost in it, and that's what movies are. Oh, no pun intended. But
that's right.
Anyway,
all right, guys. What were your thoughts on Home Alone 2? Did you like it as much as the first one or like it more? Put some comments down below, and always like and subscribe. You're going to find us here on YouTube and on all your podcast stations.
That's right.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.